Hi everyone, it's Rachel Gibbs from the Elementary Instruction Team. In this video, I am going to kind of go over in a video form everything that you would need to get started with Breakout EDU in your classroom. I've heard from lots of teachers that you guys are excited about this and want to try it out, but you're just not really sure how to get started. So I'm going to try and show you all the resources that we have for you to do this, and then give you some tips to kind of help you feel more confident in starting this awesome activity with your students. So really quickly, I want to make sure you know how to access all of our Breakout EDU resources on the elementary instruction site. So the way I got to this page, when you navigate to our elementary instruction site from your MCS bookmarks, under the home menu, you're going to go to our one-to-one EdTech resources section. And because Breakout EDU covers so many of our digital literacy and computer science standards with all of its computational thinking that's embedded, it is in our DLCS resource bank. So it's going to be located here in the DLCS bank, along with all those awesome activities that have been created by our one-to-one group that you can also use to cover your digital literacy and computer science standards. But if you scroll down a little into the links, you're going to see the big Breakout EDU icon, and then that's going to take you to that page with all of your Breakout EDU resources. Now there is a help document that's linked right here for you for getting started. However, you really should not need to use that. Everyone should already be input into our Breakout EDU account. However, if you attempt to log in with your Madison City email, which I'm going to show you how to do that in just a sec, if you try that and that doesn't work, then you can come here, and this is going to show you another way that you can go in and get your school access code so that you can get logged into that Breakout EDU free platform, so that you can, because we have access to all of the breakouts on their platform for free. So that will show you how you can do that. And there's also a resource here that shows you how you can set up your class, but I'm going to show you how to do that in a second too. This other handout right here will also take you through creating your class and connecting them to digital breakouts if you're choosing to use Breakout to do a digital or online breakout with your students, but I'm going to quickly show you how you can do that. I want to show you though the other things that are available on this page before I move away from this and go into the setup of navigating the Breakout platform. This slide that I created, I would definitely recommend using this with your students before your first breakout. You're welcome to just kind of let them go at it and try it out on their own, and they'll have tons of fun, and they'll eventually figure it out on their own. They're going to grapple through and struggle through a lot and get frustrated the first time they try it, and that's okay, because it's just a challenging activity that is awesome for building those computational thinking and problem solving skills. But this resource is going to help you to introduce some strategies and tips to them that are going to help them be a little more successful. So I'm going to open that up really quick. This is the slide that I've been using. If you signed up for any of my digital breakouts, you're going to see some familiar things to introduce to students before we do the breakout. So it kind of goes through talking about what computational thinking is. So having them share what they believe that means. A lot of times students pull out that root word of computer or computation, and discussing that. And then I have this visual here where you can kind of talk with your students through the different concepts or approaches of computational thinking that they're going to be using when they work through a breakout. And I always take time to really focus on this one of persevering. All of your students at some point are going to hit some place in the breakout where it feels really challenging. They may even hit one of those moments where they feel like they may want to give up. Because it's challenging and it's helping them grow their minds, which is awesome. So just kind of talking to them about how normal that is, that it's going to feel hard sometimes, but that you guys can stop and talk through things together and kind of think out loud together. I go through the different types of locks that students might have as they're doing their digital breakout. An ABC word lock, which will spell a 5-letter word. There are up, down, left, or right direction locks that are made up of a 5-arrow combination. The number lock is usually 5-number combination. the shape lock, which will be a combination of 5 shapes, and the color lock, which is obviously a combination of 5 colors. And I talk with students also about how in each of the clues that they're going to look at, they're going to have 2 things that they need to figure out. They're going to need to figure out the answer, the actual answer choices, but then they're also going to need to figure out the sequence, the order in which those answers need to go. And I'm going to switch to slideshow view for just a second with this, because what I then do with the students is let them try a few actual clues from Breakout and think through it together. And I encourage students to use these 2 questions when they're looking at a clue, because a lot of times they have no idea where to even go, where their thinking should start when they're looking at one of these clues. So these are really helpful questions. Just what do you notice and what do you wonder? Now this one is a word lock. After giving students some time, you'll probably have someone who will share that they are noticing that there are 5 different pictures, and because they know that this is a word lock, they attempted putting together the first letter of each of these pictures, which gives them the answer which. On the second clue example, this is a color combination. Same thing, what do you notice and what do you wonder? Eventually students will probably share that because they know they have to figure out a 5 color combination, they see that there are 5 different colors atop each of the jack-o'-lanterns, and then they will probably eventually arrive at the idea that the sequence is going to align from least to greatest with the number of teeth on each of the jack-o'-lanterns, giving them this color combination. This final one is another word lock. So what do they notice? What do they wonder? They'll probably notice that there are 5 turkeys, that the different letters are highlighted, and then that there's a different number of pumpkins, which will, again, help them figure out to put those letters in ascending order from least amount of pumpkins to greatest amount of pumpkins, which gives them GLOBE. Globe. So those are just 3 practice scenarios, and those are pretty simpler ones when it comes to the clues on Breakout. So you may find that that some of the questions that your students are actually working on are a little more challenging, but that kind of gives you somewhere to start and gives them some strategies to use. I also have this screen up that you can use to walk them through how to access their Breakout EDU the first time, and then use your join code to access the games that you have assigned to them. So I'm going to quickly go out of this, and now I'm going to go into Breakout EDU from the teacher's standpoint, and then I will go from the student standpoint logging in. So when you visit breakoutedu.com, you can just go to Breakout EDU. You're going to choose Log In, select Educator, and when you sign in from there, it may ask you a couple of questions if this is the first time you've signed in, and it will give you that option to choose your Google account and sign in with your Madison City Google account. Now, if that does not work for you, remember, like I mentioned before, there is also another option where you can go and add yourself using our school code. If you still are having an issue, reach out to me and I'll get that fixed for you. But once you're in, this is what your platform is going to look like. It's pretty simple and straightforward to navigate. So before you can actually search for a breakout and assign it for your students, you're probably going to want to have your class set up. So if you go to My Classes, you have the option right here to create a class. So when you click that, you can give your class whatever name you would like. And then once I create that class, you can see right here it gives me a class code, and you're going to want to have that saved somewhere, written up on your board, so that your students will be able to easily see that when it comes time for them to join your class. You've got lots of different games that you can choose from. So you've got a little search box up here. It even gives you the option to narrow down the search by grade level or narrow down by subject or type. Whether you're going to do a digital breakout, so where they're completing it all online digital locks, or if you're doing a kit required breakout. Now I'm going to say really quickly, if you are choosing to have your students use a kit for their breakout, that requires a little bit of setup. So it's super fun. The kids really enjoy doing that, and they gain lots of great skills from doing it. And we have kits available for you to check out from your media center. So check with your media specialist on that. I would even suggest, if it's available, maybe getting 2 kits and setting up 2 separate boxes for your students, so you don't have to have every single one of your student groups working to open the same box. But if you are going to be doing that, you will have to do a little bit of setup ahead of time. So if you're choosing a actual physical kit, just remember that you'll want to kind of look at that ahead of time so that you are ready to set up those locks and get everything put up around your room. There are really good directions back on that breakout page right here. There's a lock guide on how you set your lock up, and then how to reset your lock to the reset codes whenever you're finished with the breakout. Now on your platform, we talked about how there's an option to choose breakouts by grade. I would suggest not focusing too much on that in the beginning. Some of the breakouts, in my opinion, are leveled a little bit higher than what they're actually appropriate for. I've used the breakouts that are labeled K2 with 3-5 students quite often, and they're still very challenging. So you might even want to make a point to select a K2 leveled breakout for your first one, just to get your students kind of comfortable before you start to venture into some of the more difficult breakouts. So let's see, since we're going to be getting close to Christmas time, I'm going to search Christmas. And then you can see it's kind of marked up here for you which ones are kit required. If it doesn't have that, then that means it is a virtual breakout. So I'm going to choose this Deck the Halls breakout. Let's say I really like this one. I think I might want to use it for my students. It's going to give me everything I need. Right here, it's going to walk me through all of the locks and the solution so that I, as the teacher, can know ahead of time what all of the answers are and feel ready to kind of prepare, or feel ready and prepared to be able to kind of pause with my students if they need to stop and think through a lock out loud altogether so that we don't hit a major frustration wall. And then you also have a copy of the answer key as a PDF. Now, when you have a breakout selected that you like, you're going to choose this assign option right here, and that is going to allow you to assign that breakout to your class. So when I click assign, it's going to ask me which of my classes I would like to assign this to. So if I choose that test class and then assign game, now I have it assigned there. Okay, so now I am going to log out for a second of my teacher account, and I want to show you what it looks like for your students to log in. So the easiest way for your students to access Breakout is for them to go to their Clever portal, and then they're going to see under the shared district links there is a Breakout EDU icon. So they can select that Breakout EDU, and that's going to take them to the student sign-in, and they're going to want to choose Login with Google Classroom. This will work even if you do not have a Google Classroom set up. It will still allow your students to sign in. Once they choose that, it may ask them to select their Google account or their Madison City account, and then it will take them into their dashboard. Now you can see I have lots of things added, but your students probably will not really see anything unless you have had them join the class. So once they get to this point, they're going to want to click Join Class, and that's where they're going to put in that join code that we looked at earlier, and that's going to instantly add them into the class. So you can see here all of the classes that I am a part of. So if I click into this test class, you can see a breakout that I assigned previously to this particular class. So your students would see that, they click on that picture, and then they are taken right in to the breakout game. They can read an intro story, it can be read aloud to them, they click start game, and it's going to take them into that first lock. And they can go through and look carefully at those clues and attempt to solve the lock by selecting what they think is the correct combination down below. Notice they also have this option here to expand the clue to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so that is pretty much everything that you need to know to get started with your students. Again, really the biggest thing that I would highly suggest is um, giving them a second to kind of practice what it's going to be like inside of the breakout, and stopping and thinking through those problems with some of those examples in the getting started slide that I showed you guys earlier. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you still don't feel super confident and you want to talk through anything or need any help getting anything set up. I am more than happy to help with that. And I hope you guys try it out. When you do try out breakouts, please share pictures with me so that I can celebrate you guys and all the awesome computational thinking that you're doing.